Welcome, listeners, to Embracing Power and Potential, your go-to podcast where we travel through the realms of personal growth, mindset mastery, and fear-conquering strategies to help achieve your greatest desires. I'm your host, Portia, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this transformative experience. If you're ready to unleash your authentic power and elevate your life, you're in the right place. Join me and our special guests as we embark on conversations that will broaden your horizons and enrich your journey. So, sit back and immerse yourself in these unmatched discussions. It's time to expand your mind and your life. Hello, my lovely people. Hope you are all feeling fabulous. If you haven't, definitely go and check out last week's episode where we talked about the first two laws of the universe, law of vibration and oneness. And I'll be posting those episodes every 2 weeks, so there will be another one out next week. And I'm going to cover 2 laws throughout each. So there will be 6 episodes in total with 12 universal laws. And I would definitely recommend to listen to them in order so you really get the overall understanding of energy and manifestation. However, today's episode is a little different. We aren't talking about manifesting in a sense, or what we're talking about is life and going through tough times and how we can come out the other end, feeling good about ourselves, feeling proud, and building strength through these times. Because life's not always sunsets and smooth roads. I'm sure you can all relate in some way, we go through hard times in life. And sometimes it feels like the universe has you in a headlock, testing you, making challenges fall into your life. But here's the thing. You can't always control what happens to you. You can control how you show up for it though, how you react to these times. Today we're talking about getting back up when life knocks you down and why your toughest seasons can actually become your greatest teachers. So I'm sure that this episode is going to be very relatable because we all go through tough times. That's just a part of life. It's how we move through them that shapes our experience of life, and if we enjoy life or if we suffer through life. Because suffering is a choice. You choose every day how you feel about your life and about your situation. And I know that sometimes shitty things happen. Loved ones passing. For my example right now, moving house and, losing our rental that we were comfortable in for the last 5 years. Losing a job, breaking up with your partner. Shitty things happen, but that is life. And today, you're going to be getting some tough love. But I say love with capitals because I'm here for you and I see you. But you also need to wake up and realize sometimes you're the problem. With love, respectfully. So when you do face tough times, just take a think now, and are you someone who dwells on it and your brain's just going a million miles an hour, thinking about, everything that's going wrong and, focusing your energy purely on everything that's not working out for you? Because remember, what you focus on expands. What you focus on attracts into your life. And I will be going deeper into that, into the laws of the universe in the coming episodes. So definitely keep tuned. So, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the problem? Or are you focusing on the solution? Focusing on how you can get through this, taking it day by day. If you are in a really hard time in your life at the moment, let yourself feel the emotions that you need to feel, because when you bottle them up, it actually becomes worse for you. You become in a deeper sense of these negative feelings, and in a sense they become your identity, and you identify yourself with feelings of lack or sadness or anger or resentment, and overall you'll be vibrating at a very lower frequency. So then low frequency experiences will keep coming into your life. And you probably see that, when you get in a pattern or in a state of depression, things just don't really pick up. But you can consciously make the choice to change that, to change your story. And that's something that's really important, because it's about perspective of your situation. So, for example, we've had to move out of our rental a couple of months ago. It went up for sale, and we have been living in this for 5 years, very comfortable, and we thought that we would keep renewing our lease, but that didn't happen, because that's just life. And one thing I do love to say, quick side note, when shitty things are happening in life, my motto, this is my life motto, is that things happen for me, not to me. So there's always a reason for the things that are happening for you. When bad things happen, even just for a small example, if you were running late, or, your lift was late to pick you up from work and now you're late for work, bad situation, but that could be divine protection from the universe. If you had left on time, you may have ended up in an accident, or something could have gone wrong. So I look at everything as happening for a reason. And I'm sure you've all heard that everything happens for a reason. But I truly do believe that. And I truly believe that everything happens for me, for my highest good. So when shitty things happen, like my car that I talked about, I didn't have a car anymore. But that meant I could get insurance money for it and get a whole new car when mine was about to conk out anyway. That was an episode a few weeks back, so definitely check that one out. I'll pop it in the show notes. Manifestation episode. We love it. But yeah, I literally, as soon as my car was fucked, I said, thank you, universe, for giving me a new car. Even though I didn't have the car right then, I knew that things happened for me. So back to the episode. It's about perspective, and it's about how you look at your situation. So when we had to move house, we thought, it's a shame, it's close to the beach, it's ideal, we've just done up the whole garden. My dad spent all summer doing the garden, and it's beautiful now. But you know what? We can be grateful that we're leaving it in a beautiful state for the next people to come in, and looking at this as a fresh start, change of scenery. It's been 5 years, so, it's like a new era. And we could have, been all shitty, pissy about it and, not happy, which, there was some feelings of that, but let them pass through you. And then realize what can come out of these crappy situations that we go through in life. And when we do have bad situations that are happening, whether it's you're maybe in a toxic relationship, or, fighting with your family members, or you don't really like the job that you're in, what is it teaching you? When these things happen in our life, you have to look at the bigger picture and say, okay, what can I take away from this? So for example, in a shitty situation, or even in a job that you don't like, maybe you feel undervalued in your job or relationship. That situation, that lesson is teaching you your worth. It is teaching you what you don't want to settle for anymore in your life. It is teaching you that at the end of the day, you are the creator of your life. And maybe you can't just get up and leave your job today because, that would be unethical. You need money to survive and to get by in life. That's just a fact. But what are you going to do about it? Start actively looking for new jobs, changing your energy, and instead of being in an energy of lack, or you don't have the things that you want, or the job that you want, or the relationship that you want, start changing that inner dialogue and start asking yourself or the universe or the higher power, because anything that you say out loud, you're speaking it out, in like a prayer to the higher source, which I call the universe, but your higher self, God, whatever it is that works for you. Just asking them, how can I change my situation? Simply, how can I change my situation? How can I move from this job, or show me different opportunities so I can leave this job? Literally just stating that out loud and changing your perspective to looking for solutions instead of focusing on the problem, I promise you, your situation will start to turn around. Random things will start happening. You will get random job offers, or, you might have a random conversation with someone at the supermarket that owns a business of a dream job that you'd love, or maybe your partner will start treating you nicer, or you will eventually learn the strength and, realize your worth and be able to leave. Whatever it is, I promise you that when you change your perspective on your situation and change your energy from a lack and desperate and resentful to having faith and trust in the universe and knowing what you deserve, that's how you change your story. It starts from how you feel inside first. How you feel then will reflect your outer world. Actively journal the things that you want in present tense. If you want to change your situation, or if you want to change your relationship, say you're in a toxic relationship, or just it could be just a normal relationship where you and your partner are in a rough patch. Start writing in your journal about how your partner makes you feel. But write it as if how you want to feel. Feel respected, your partner is compassionate and considerate of your needs. You go out on fun date nights and, your sex life is great. Whatever it is that you are desiring, write it down in present tense and actively feel those things. And notice your energy. How have you been showing up in these times when you are in a hard time in your relationship? Have you been avoidant or dismissive? Because the energy that you put out, you get back. So really keeping conscious of how you are showing up every day in your life. And I mean, some days are shit. And, we do go through times where really, really bad things do happen in life. And it may take us a few days even to process this. And that's okay. Because everyone is on their own journeys. And I'm not saying that you just go through life and power through and not feel anything and, you're invincible. Because that's just not it. We are emotional human beings. We feel things deeply. And our mind is running 100 million miles an hour all the time. So it's important to feel through these times, feel your emotions, because that's the only way that it can pass through you. If you bottle it up, if you bottle up the stress or the resentment or the anxiety that you feel all the time, that is just going to store in your body. and it's going to make it worse for you. You're going to have health problems. You will, fall into a deeper depression where it takes longer to get out of and longer to heal your nervous system. So my advice, if you just don't even know where to start, is to just be present. Practicing presence every day when you're in a everyday life, but especially when you are going through a harder time, we get trapped in our minds and we start going over and over and over the problem that we've got, in our head, overthinking. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. So I just want you to practice being present. Just taking a few deep breaths. And another way to be really present, and something that really helped me when I first started on my journey, is just sitting out in nature, just listening to the birds, really like feeling the earth, feeling everything that's going on around you, being conscious and of the little ants and the little bugs that are on the ground. And I know it may sound silly, but it's just being present. And even if you just sit outside for 5 to 10 minutes every day, you will actually learn to love it, because that's what they say is bliss, is presence. So just coming out of your mind and coming back into your body to be present. And the most important thing when you are going through a harder time in your life, remember the things that you can be grateful for right now. So back to my example with the house. A house went up for sale a few months ago. We had our 60-day notice and we are on our last freaking week. Like, we have to hand the keys back, if you're listening to this live, tomorrow. And when I tell you the stress level of still not having a house until literally today, when I'm recording this, so about 4 days before we have to move out, we got accepted for a house. Whew, the stress that we have been feeling. But I can speak to this episode and speak from my situation of keeping that energy in check and not feeling doubtful that we're not going to get a house. And because it's so easy to tap into those feelings, and because that's like an autopilot, your brain goes into fight or flight mode where you start stressing and your cortisol levels are sky high, because it's a sense of security having a house. But we had to remind ourselves to be grateful for the house that we have right now, for the time that it served us here. Being grateful for our jobs that we can, afford to have a rental. So just remembering things in your life that you can be grateful for, because what you focus on, you attract. So when you're grateful, more things come into your life for you to be grateful for. Ever feel like you're meant for more, but something keeps holding you back? Maybe you've read the books, set the goals, but deep down, doubt still creeps in. It's not just about working harder, it's about rewriting your mindset for success. I help ambitious young people break past limiting beliefs, step into their power, and create the life they know they are meant for. If you're ready to stop playing small and start living big, book in your free discovery call with me today. My website will be linked in the show notes, or you can find me in my Instagram bio. Embracing Power and Potential Coaching Services. A vision to empower 10,000 young people to create a life they truly desire. And I believe that everything happens in divine timing. Like this house, for example. We got it 4 days before we had to move out. And we did have a house two houses actually. One lady said that we'd get the keys by Thursday, and she knew that our situation, we only had a week to go, and just pulled out on us and said, something about Strata and the dogs and all of that. But you know what? Everything fell through because this house that we got, it was $100 cheaper than everywhere else that we looked, which is unheard of. And it's a brand new house. No one has even lived in it yet. And the property manager is lovely. It was just meant to be. So I believe that everything happens in divine timing. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode today. A little bit of tough love, but it's so true, Life happens for us, and it's about our perspective of how we move through these times and come out the other end. And also being able to look back at these times and realize the strength that we have built throughout, our roughest periods, even back to when I was in Melbourne. I believe that I can overcome anything now because I overcome that. And that was so hard. So if I can overcome that, I can overcome anything. And I hope that you believe that about yourself too. Because it is strength building and character building these times. But it shapes who we are and how we move through the world. So move with grace, move with love, and give yourself compassion for those times when you look back at those versions of yourself. And just think, that little version of you, overcome that, and how beautiful it is to be able to reflect on that and see where you are now and being proud of yourself. So I'm going to leave the episode there. I love you. I hope that if you are going through a hard time, you can come back to this episode just as a little reminder that don't be the victim to your circumstances. Overcome your circumstances and take control of yourself and your energy, and you will be able to get through anything in life. I love you so much. I hope you have the best week, and definitely stay tuned for the episode next week. We will be diving into the next 2 laws of the universe. Love you so much. Speak to you then. Bye.